Today we're going to be talking about taking cash. Now that should be a no-brainer. Everybody should accept cash, as they also should accept credit cards. And this discussion comes up pretty frequently. So we're going to talk about taking cash, taking credit cards, and also maybe even taking coins. Oh my goodness. But before we get into that today, I want to remind you guys I'm going to be in Houston, Texas this year, July 29th and 30th at the Humble Civic Center in Houston, Texas. We're going to be part of the Food Truck Owners Expo, and I'm going to be giving two classes, one on Monday, one on Tuesday. The first one is on your menu and profitability, and the second one is on how to market your business in and off season when you're closed. In between those two classes, I'm going to be out on the main floor, and I'm going to be holding campfire sessions where you guys can come and sit down and talk to me and ask me all kind of questions all about food trucks. So again, if you would like to attend the Food Truck Owners Expo, go to ftoowners.com, purchase your tickets today, and remember to use the code FTTG15, and that'll give you a 15% discount on those tickets. Welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business coach, author of 5 food truck vending books, including Food Truck 101 and Food Truck 201. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business. How confident are you about your menu pricing? Are your prices profitable, or are you just scraping by? If you're not sure, I've got just what you need. Table Needs has built a super simple menu pricing calculator that you can use for free, and it will help you figure out the best price point for every item on your menu. Get started with Table Needs menu pricing calculator today at tableneeds.com, or you'll find a direct link in the description below the podcast. So should you use cash? Should you take cash? Should you only take credit cards? Should you take both? Should you have round number on your menu? Should you not have round numbers? Big debate always happens in food truck circles and hot dog cart circles and lemonade vendors and all the different people out there that are trying to make a living. So let me get rid of some of those old wives' tales. And this is coming from somebody who's been doing this a heck of a long time and also been participating in surveys and time tests to see what's the quickest. Now remember, my background is in corporate restaurants. Worked at Wendy's and McDonald's, worked at Burger King, worked at Hardee's, and we always had the debate on how can we make the drive-through window go faster. The goal is always to get more people through per hour, because the quicker that you are, the more money that you make. That's kind of common sense. So one of the things that we always looked at when it came down to speed of service, and you'd have managers say, well, if we didn't have coins, it would be quicker. And then somebody would pull out a actual time study that would show that a good cashier, a well-trained cashier, is just as fast as processing a credit card, and in many cases faster. Now, you got to realize that the credit card processing today is very, very fast. It's almost instantaneous if you have the right processor, and you also have the right equipment, and then you're also in a venue where there's a clear cell signal or a strong internet connection. Now, if any one of those things break down, credit card processing becomes slower. And then you wish you would have had some change to give to somebody so you can move them out of the line and take the next order. So what we found when we worked at both Rax and Wendy's, we did time studies because we wanted to be the fastest that we possibly could be when we were bringing people through the drive-through window. Now, remember, Wendy's and actually Rax also on the front counter has a little change dispenser, the little machine that when you ran in on the POS, it would kick out all the coins, and all the cashier then had to do was hand out the change. You guys could get one of those if you wanted. They still make them. But what we found at the drive-thru, you couldn't really do that because of the POS system limitations back in that day. We didn't have the ability to store orders and recall them and do the change at that point. So when someone was at the speaker and we said, hi, welcome to Wendy's, would you like to try a single today? They placed their order and we'd have to give them a total, and that total would then be a part of the POS system, and it was done. There was no way to recall it and add in or even add on to the order. So somebody pulled up to the window and said, hey, I need to add on another single. Okay. So we had to ring it up and then add the two tickets together. That's just how it worked. Because back then, as soon as you hit total, you printed up a ticket and that was it. Nowadays, they can actually store the order and it's electronically done. There's no ticket printed, and it goes through a series of KDS systems. And each one of those KDS will show whatever it's supposed to show to the person that's got to do whatever activity is associated with that order. Whether it be the fry person, the people making the sandwiches, the person expediting it, or the person handing it out. All of those stations have a KDS that shows different information. So when a guest comes up and says, hey, I need to add on one more thing, the order is not finished. So all they have to do is say, no problem. They could ring up whatever the guest wanted, give them a new total. What's the amount that you're being given? Put in $20 and it'll tell you what the change is. Not that big of a deal. There's no math required nowadays. There are modern POS systems that you can get on your food truck today that will do the exact same thing. The people that are very loud about coins slow you down have never tried it. They're in the mindset of, oh, well, it's going to be slow because I can't count. And then they just automatically say no. And then they'll say, I've been doing it 20 years. Well, good for you. Learn how to count. When I very first started as an employee at Rax Restaurants in the late 70s, they stuck me up front one day, and it was with very minimal training. And of course, the very first order I took, I got to count change back. Now, I've always been afraid of math. You wouldn't know that with all the spreadsheets and stuff that I have done over the years. But back then, I did not like math. I avoided math at all costs. But when I went to high school, once we got past the required math, I took no more math. And for us, the required math was you had to take Algebra 1 and you had to take geometry. Now, all of my friends were taking Algebra 2 and they were taking trigonometry and all the other higher forms, but those were not required to get a high school diploma, so Bill didn't take them. But when I got there at Rax Restaurants and I'm having to count back change, it's like, uh-oh. Good thing is counting back change doesn't involve trigonometry or geometry or any other of the higher maths. All it requires is counting. And I knew how to do that. So somebody gives me a $20 bill on an order that's $14.08. I'm counting up 9, 10. 10 makes 20. Put a nickel in there. Now I'm at 25 cents. I need 3/4 to get to the next dollar. That would be 15. Here's a 5 to give you your total. Now I just sounded off exactly what I did. Now, if you want to go back and replay that and see how long it took me to say that, I could do it way faster. Now, if you ever ran a credit card, you have to wait for the person to pick out the credit card, or you have to wait for the person to pick out cash. So those two transactions from the guest handing you something to you are going to be equal. If the guest is naturally slow, they're going to be slow no matter what they're handing you, cash or a card. Now, at the point that you got the card and you put it into your POS system, however your POS system does it, or the guest has to tap or dip or whatever it is they're doing on a little screen that they're looking at, they had to be educated for that split second. How does this work? This is different than anything else I've seen. Where does my card go? So all of those things are momentary hesitations on the part of the guest that the food truck owner goes, I don't care. Coins are slow. Everybody knows how to do a transaction with cash because they've done many, many more of those in their lifetime than they have with something that revolves around a credit card. So at the point that you have the credit card in hand or the guest has actually started the transaction, now you got to wait on the connectivity to approve the thing. And then once it's approved, then the guest has to figure out, do I hit no tip? Do I need a receipt? Does the receipt go to my email? So there's all kinds of questions that come up that slow down the process. No matter how quick you have it set up, it will be slower than just, here's a 20, here's your change. Have a great day. Again, at Wendy's, we did a bunch of time studies. How can we make this go faster? And we were doing it at the drive-thru where we didn't have the little machine to kick out the change. We actually installed a machine that would do the change manually. Now, the employee had to type in the price, so $14.90 out of 20, and it would tell them you need to give back the dollar amount, and it would kick out the appropriate amount of change. That was not faster than them counting it themselves. That's a good cashier. Again, I count. I don't do math. I don't sit there and go, okay, it's $18.13 and they gave me a 20. How does this work? And you sit there and you figure, okay, we got 13 cents, 87. You don't have to do that. It's 13, 14, 15. I need a dime to go to a quarter. Now I'm at a quarter. I know I need 3/4 to get to the even dollar. That's 19. Here's a dollar for 20. Have a great day. Come back and see us. Now, just watching my little recording session, that took me 2 seconds to say that. Guess what? I can pull out the money while I'm saying it. So 2 seconds is what people are whining about. 2 seconds. It's a slow point. It's not a slow point. The slow point is your inability to train a cashier to be faster, to push them to be better today than they were yesterday. You have to care about the speed of service at every touch point. And if you don't care, you'll never get faster. Yeah, money's slow. I want them credit cards. I want even amounts. So the issue becomes, if you have an even amount, that's awesome. Not all states will let you do that. Now, they're not dictating your retail price, but all states do expect there to be sales tax collected in some way, shape, or form. So if you have a ticket where you're going, well, I've got to make this a round number, and the state's going to take there's 7 or 6 or 5%, whatever the sales tax is. So I'm just going to make this $16 and back out the sales tax. That's awesome. Not all states let you do that because a lot of states require that the ticket, if somebody wants a receipt, whether it's a physical receipt, you email a receipt, or you text them, they want that receipt to show the exact amount of money that this person was charged in sales tax. Not that it's included, because some states do not allow it to be included. There are states that do allow it. There are states that make exceptions to their rule. So they have the rule that no retail price can include sales tax, but if you're a vendor at a stadium, then yeah, you can include it, so that way you don't have to deal change back and forth down the row as you're passing out a beer or a hot dog. But those exceptions have to be explained in the statutes. And if they're not, you don't have a way to include sales tax in your retail pricing if your state does not allow it. That's the point I got to get across to everyone. If it's not legally allowed, you cannot do it. You need to talk to your state's tax revenue, Department of Revenue, whatever they call the people that collect the sales tax. You need to talk to them and ask, is it legal for me to include sales tax in my retail pricing? Yes or no. Now, here's the thing about math. I told you I don't like math. Never have. But it's a part of what I do every single day, so I've gotten really, really good at it because I've had 47 years of practice at this. The way that sales tax works is it's a percentage. It's a percentage against a subtotal. So a subtotal of all the taxable items. Now, the more items that are on that ticket, the more likely it is you're not going to have a round number if the sales tax is applied correctly. People don't understand this. I got a spreadsheet in the Facebook group that will show you when you have bigger orders, it is more likely that your sales tax is going to force 97, 98, 99 cents or a dollar penny, $2 pennies. It's going to not be a round number because that's mathematically impossible. People that only deal with a guest that comes up and orders 2 or 3 things may never in their life see that. But at the point that you go to ring up, say 30 of something, 20 of something, which I've had tickets that big, and you should strive to get tickets that big, you'll realize that, oh, the math doesn't work because it's going to be off. Again, it's going to be just shy of an even number or it's going to be just over an even number. That's how math works when you involve percentages. Now, a POS system can work its way around that, but that means it's not actually doing true math. And that could be a problem with your local Department of Revenue. See, a POS system will do whatever you program it to do. Doesn't make it legal. Now let's talk about one last thing. People always say, cash is king. And I've talked about this before. Cash is not king. It is not the most popular type of payment and has not been for the last 14 years. It was surpassed a number of years ago. The most popular method of payment is going to be a debit or credit card. Some places separate out the two. I just lump them all together because a card's a card. The next most popular form of payment is automatic clearinghouse, and that's AHC, automatic clearinghouse. That's when you write an online check or you write a real check. And then cash is the third place winner. So cash is the bronze medalist. It is no longer the king. It is no longer the gold standard. It is third place behind cards and behind checks. The reason being that over 90% of all payroll in the United States is direct deposit. People have a branded Visa or MasterCard debit card that links directly to their bank account. They have zero reason to go to a bank to withdraw money. Now, there are people that do that. There are people that do that every single day that go out and get money. And then they'll come and use that money. I get hundreds all the time. I get 50s all the time. And people are always afraid to ask, can you take this? Yeah, I can take it. It's money. I'll take it. Of course, I verify that it's real and then I take it. Money is money. I don't have a problem with it. Credit cards are credit cards. Don't have a problem with them. I get my money deposited every single day through my credit card processor. You cannot jump to a conclusion and say, we're going to be cash only and we're going to be round numbers only. You are not a business at that point. Can you imagine McDonald's saying, oh, let's just drop credit cards? They could, but they won't be as busy as they are. One other thing that people say is, I've been doing cash for the last 15, 20, 30, 40 years and don't have a problem. That's awesome. Glad you don't. But here's the deal. When someone takes credit cards and they have a known reputation for taking cash and taking credit cards, and then that day comes by where they cannot take the credit card for whatever reason, internet's down, machines broke, whatever, they lose sales. So if you've been doing this for a long time and you've trained all your guests that we are cash only, if they got to have your food, they know to bring cash. But you've already limited yourself because every one of those folks have been taught you're cash only. So if they go out of the house and go, man, I'd love to have that burger from that food truck, and they head there and then realize, oh crap, I don't have any money. they are unlikely going to stop at an ATM to pull out money because their bank's ATM may not be on the way and they're not going to pay extra money to pull cash out of an ATM just to satisfy your short-sighted need to be cash only. So they just go somewhere else. You will have never known that because they never got in front of your business to go, oh crap, cash only, I'll go somewhere else. Now, you also got people that have stepped up there expecting to be able to use a credit card, and you go, nope, I'm back in the 1900s, we're cash only. And they fumble around, find enough cash to pay for their bill so they're not real embarrassed. And then they know not to ever come back to you because you're not in modern times and you're not convenient. Food service has to be convenient. If it's beyond your ability to be convenient, you have not created a business. You have created your own job. And I promise you, at some point, you are not going to like your boss. Thank you so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information helpful to your food truck business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. Join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at all different levels, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They've all got your back when it comes to helping you with your food truck. And again, thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow because you know I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.